In lesson 1.2, we're going to cover adding integers with different signs. So in lesson 1.1, we added integers with the same signs. Now we're going to be adding positives with negatives. We're first going to represent this with a number line. So let's think of an addition problem that we already know. We already know that 3 plus 2 equals 5. To model this on a number line, we start at 3, and then we move 2 forward, or more positive, to the right, to get the answer 5. Now what happens when we add a negative? When we do 3 plus negative 2, we're still going to start at 3, but because we're adding a negative, instead of going to the right to the more positive numbers, we're going to go to the left. So 3 plus negative 2, we move over 2 spaces from 3 to get the answer 1. All right, so let's practice some of these. Model 4 plus negative 3 on the number line. So we're going to start at 4, and then we're adding negative 3. So we're going to move 3 to the left. So 1, 2, 3. We end at positive 1. All right, let's try starting with a negative and then adding a positive. So let's model negative 7 plus 5. We're going to start at negative 7. And then we're adding a positive, so we're going to move in the positive direction 5 units. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We end at negative 2. Negative 7 plus 5 is negative 2. So we started at negative 7. We moved 5 units to the right, or in the positive direction. All right, this is where I encourage you to pause the video, see if you can do C by yourself, and then play the video to see if you got it right. All right, so we're going to model 6 plus negative 6 on the number line. We're going to start at 6 and move 6 units to the left, or in the negative direction. So start at 6, move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we ended at 0. So our answer is 0. All right, let's reflect on this. Predict the sum of negative 2 plus 2. Explain your prediction and check it using the number line. Let's look back at example C for a second. 6 and negative 6. Those are opposites. I know that opposites have the sum of 0. So let's look back at that one we're predicting. Negative 2 and 2. Those are also opposites. They both have the same distance from 0 in opposite directions. So negative 2 plus 2, I'm predicting the sum will be 0. Let's see, if I start at negative 2 and I move 2 units in the positive direction, I end at 0. Another way we can model adding sums of integers with different signs is by using positive and negative counters. So just like we did when we were modeling sums of integers with the same signs, we're going to use the yellow side as positive and the red side as negative. So in this first example, we're modeling positive 3 plus negative 2. So I have 3 positives, 3 yellow sides, and I have 2 negatives, or 2 red sides. Now before we actually add these together, I want you to think back to the last slide where we talked about opposites. Now look at this example in the top corner. 1 and negative 1 are opposites. They cancel each other out. So 1 plus negative 1 is 0. So when you have 1 yellow coin and 1 red coin, or counter, they cancel each other out. So when I have 3 yellow counters and 2 red counters, I'm going to go through these and I'm going to cross off the 0 pairs. And then I have 1 yellow left. So I'm going to write down 1 counter, and because it's yellow, the sum of 3 plus negative 2 is positive 1. All right, I'm going to have you pause the video, see if you can do negative 6 plus 3 all by yourself, and then play it back to see if you got it right. All right, so I'm going to set this up. Negative 6, those are going to be red. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red. And 3 yellow, or 3 positive, so 1, 2, 3. Then I go through my counters and I find 0 pairs. So when there's 1 yellow and 1 red, we cross them off. We're left with 3 red. And because they're red, we say that's -3. All right, let's make a prediction. Kyle models a sum of 2 integers. He uses more red counters, negative counters, than positive yellow counters. What do you predict about the sign of the sum? Well, if there were more red counters, once we make 0 pairs, there's going to be red left over. So the sign of the sum is going to be negative. That's because there are more red counters. All right, your homework today is going to be numbers 1 through 15 odd. Please feel free to email me if you need any help.